But the real Bermuda Triangle that we're all having to face now, collectively, globally, more seriously almost every day, is the three E's. The three E's. The three E's. And the three E's are energy, the environment, and the economy. And this is the Bermuda Triangle almost of the world today, of society today, and into this triangle is fast disappearing what's called our lifestyle. And our lifestyle is just the way we're accustomed to living. So what I'd like to ask you is to take a moment and just reflect on some previous experience, some past event, some adversity that you've experienced in your life so far, however small, however big, doesn't matter really. It's just to bring that into your mind and then to notice what was it that got you through that difficult period, that adversity, that tough time. What came from within you? What ability, what trait, what skills, what strength came from within you that got you through that particular experience? And what were the two main attributes, abilities, skills, capacities? What were the two main things that you got from them that allowed them to be resilient in their adversity?
Patience.
Patience, okay. Patience.
Creativity.
Creativity.
Self-esteem.
Self-esteem.
Confidence.
Self-confidence. It's good.
Keep calm under the storm.
Stay calm. Stay
cool.
Calm. Yep. The ability to stay calm. Good. What else? Courage. Yep.
Positive attitude.
Positive attitude. Positive. Staying positive.
Curiosity.
Curious. They were curious. Curiosity. It's good. Anyone else?
Adaptation.
Okay. Ability to adapt. Adaptable. Very adaptable. That's great. You don't buy them anywhere. They have to come from inside out because they're different faces of our individual strength and capacity. Different faces. If I don't give time and attention to these kinds of things, then when events come, adverse situations arise, then I'm not prepared. And so I can make preparations. In Scotland, about 10 or 11 years ago now, they did a big survey of about 25 to 30 CEOs of public and private companies and organizations. And they asked them, in their experience, in their long experience, as they watched their managers operating, what did they think were the main abilities of resilience? What do you think made people resilient? And they said 7 things. Let's see if you have any of them. 7 things. Number 1 was responsibility. This idea of self-responsibility. The second one, they said, was forgiveness, the ability to forgive. To forgive, well, if I'm the one who's responsible for my feelings and my emotions and my thoughts, do I forgive others? Do I have to forgive others when things go?
Usually.
No. What do I have to do is forgive myself. Because in truth, no one hurts me. When I have hurt feelings, who creates the hurt feelings? It's me. Is that right? Yeah. And then the third one was they don't take life too seriously. Yeah? Not seriously. I should put up here not seriously, and not just seriously. In other words, they're able to stay light. And they stay above everything. Light means they are light and they can stay above what's happening on the ground. And so they don't take things too seriously. Number 4, they were very optimistic. Optimistic. Yeah. Number 5 was they were great, generous. They were very generous individuals. Generosity. Yeah, they were giving. They had this ability to give to the other, to put the other person first, to put the other person in front, to help others. And that gave them the strength to be able to help themselves when they had to face adversity. Number 6 was they were very independent. They were very independent. In other words, non-dependent. Non-dependent. Not dependent on others. Because as soon as I depend on others, then when I don't get what I want from others, actually that becomes a moment of adversity. You're not giving me what I want. You're not doing what I want. It's as if I've just lost something. And so they're independent. And yet they have this very mature awareness of how we're all interdependent. We're in it together. And then number 7 was they valued others' opinions. They valued others' opinions. So there wasn't this stubbornness of, I have to get through this on my own. They were prepared to ask others, what do you think? What would be your advice? How could you guide me in this? How could you guide me? Yeah. All adversity comes from a sense of losing something. It could be an opportunity, it could be an object, it could be a job, it could be a reputation, it could be anything. But if you look at any adverse situation in your perception, you'll notice that you perceive you have lost something, always. So, the way out of, the way through, the way beyond adversity is to make what's called a paradigm shift. A paradigm shift. You all know the word paradigm? Paradigm means model, a way of interpreting
Same in Spanish.
the world. In Spanish, same word.
Paradigma.
Paradigma.
Cambio de paradigma.
Yeah. And right now, all of us, we live what's called the material paradigm. Yeah, this is the material paradigm, the physical paradigm. We're living a very physical paradigm because we see ourselves just as physical beings. That's all. We just have an identity based on ourselves as physical entities. And you know this is true because when you get out of bed and go to the bathroom in the morning, you look in the mirror, you go, oh my God. Do you do that every day? Now when we see ourselves only as physical beings, then our happiness in life, it becomes sensual. It's limited by the sensual. In other words, by the senses of the physical. That's why we all consume things. We consume the world. We consume the movie, the holiday, the meal. We consume other people through our senses, and we believe that's what gives us happiness. And that means that we will live from inside out. I'm so sorry. We live from outside in. We live our lives from outside in. Because we're always looking for something outside to stimulate our sight, our taste, our senses. And that means that inevitably we will blame someone. We'll get angry at someone because as soon as someone gets in the way or stops me from getting something outside in, we will blame, we'll get angry, we'll get upset. And that will make us very unhappy. And that's what's happening now globally. Who's being blamed the most globally right now? Who's being blamed for the cause of unhappiness most right now? The bankers, yeah, the bankers. They're getting it all right now. Yeah. And so what happens when I live physically from outside in is I start to develop what's called desires and cravings. Because that's what happens when I take my happiness from sensual stimulation. And then, of course, when I desire and crave things, that sets up the belief that I can possess things and that I own things, whether it's house or car or clothes or money. I believe I own these things, and if you believe you possess and own, then guess what is inevitable?
Attachment.
And therefore, loss is inevitable. And this is why, as human beings, we've been programmed to create adversity. We're programmed. So many little beliefs in there, all based on the paradigm of the material. Now, the shift that gets me out of this inevitable adversity, the shift is from the material to what's called the spiritual paradigm. Yeah? And that's called a shift in identity. It's just a shift in identity. A little bit challenging if it's a new idea, but it's the moment I realize that when I see in the mirror there is not me. It's not my identity. It's just a face. It's just a form. Yeah? And actually, I'm not the face. I'm not the form. I'm the energy that animates it. I'm the life force that brings it to life. That moment when I realize that I'm not the physical entity, I am spirit. And when that's realized, when I really get that, it takes a little bit of practice to get that, then that's the moment my happiness ceases to be sensual, in other words, physically stimulated. My happiness becomes self-generated. Yeah? I self-generate my happiness, otherwise known as contentment. This idea, the deepest happiness is contentment. And it comes from not outside in, it comes from inside out. And when it comes from inside out, that means I'm not dependent on anything outside anymore. And then I don't blame or get angry at people. I don't blame or get angry. What do I do? What do I do? I don't get upset with people. I'm able to... What do you think? I don't blame, I don't get upset with others when they get in the way of what I want or what I think I need. I don't get angry at them. I'm able to accept. I accept everyone as they are. I accept everyone as they are. Then I don't desire and crave. I'm able to do what? I'm able to give. And in the context of my relationships, I don't want anything from others. I'm able to serve others. I turn my energy from craving and wanting to giving and serving others. And then, of course, hey, now I know that deep inside, have you ever noticed everything in your life comes and goes? You ever notice? Cars come and go, money comes and goes, jobs come and go, opportunities come and go, people come and go, everything comes and goes. Is that true in your experience? I think so. And so therefore, it kind of indicates that nothing is ever mine. Yeah? I get to use the car, I get to use the job, I get to use the money, and then someone else gets it. Nothing is ever mine. And so I loosen this belief in possessing and ownership, and I realize no thing is ever mine. And if I can get that nothing is ever mine forever, guess what? There is no loss. The possibility of loss disappears. And when there is no loss, there is no adversity. And when there's no adversity, there's no need to be resilient. And the hardest thing, you give me the best example, is when my son is killed. And the reason that's so painful is because the attachment to the son is so deep, family. And the reason is I learned to believe that that human being is my child. And that's me trying to possess another human being. You see? And that is the biggest mistake that parents make. You're my child. Now you will do what I say. And if you do what I say, I will be very happy with you. And I'll give you lots of love. But if you don't do what I say, I'll be very unhappy and I will withdraw my love. Isn't that what parents do? So this is the paradigm shift. This is the paradigm shift from the material to the spiritual. It's not an easy shift to make. It takes a little bit of time and a little bit of conscious focus. You know, inquiry, curiosity came up earlier. The curiosity of why am I so unhappy so frequently? Why am I getting so stressed? Why am I always wanting? Why do I feel as if I'm losing stuff all the time? The curiosity about that, because I realize no one else is causing that, it's me. And then the possibility of the shift into a deeper freedom, a greater freedom, a freedom from loss. That's way down the other extreme. The reality, we're all somewhere in the middle. But I just wanted to share it with you because we will probably never ever meet again. Isn't that sad?